no show brings about the nostalgic taste of childhood quite like Hey Arnold, and you could argue that a large part of that was because of the way the show didn't talk down to its viewers. Yes, the core intended audience may have been children, but many of the episodes and characters got pretty real when re-examined with a healthy dose of post-childhood experience dusted with a little bit of melancholic cynicism, and about 3 teaspoons of wonder and a cup of grounded realism, and this baking metaphor has gotten away from me so fast that it left dust trails. What I'm trying to say is, Hey Arnold got pretty dang real at times, yo! But with how grounded the show was, there is one episode whose ending has been contested among the viewers now for a while. And if you're anything like us and spend long, sleepless nights browsing the internet rabbit hole of fan theories, then you already know what I'm talking about. I'm Jacob with a cold from channel Frederator, and today we're going way back to answer one of the internet's most well-known cartoon theories. Today, ahead of the long-awaited Hey Arnold Jungle movie, we will finally and unwaveringly put to bed this classic Hey Arnold conspiracy that asks, did Pigeon Man actually kill himself? So, for the uninitiated, who or what is a Pigeon Man? No, he's not a pigeon who acts like a man, nor is he a man who acts like a pigeon. Rather, he's an urban legend that the kids tell each other. Some believed that he was some strange hybrid of pigeon and man, while others believe that he was just a crazy guy in a chicken suit. But of course, what the kids think is some sort of inhuman monster actually turns out to just be a reclusive man who copes with his loneliness by caring for his pigeons. Like the Birdman of Alcatraz. If you're already familiar with the events of the Pigeon Man episode, then awesome, you have good taste in television. But for the rest of us dinosaurs who first saw the episode sometime in the late Cretaceous period of 1996, here's a quick refresher. After caring for Arnold's bird, Pigeon Man, whose real name is Vincent, tells him that since elementary school he's led a life of social isolation, developing serious trust issues when it comes to other people. But Arnold, being Arnold, is able to persuade Vincent to grab a bite to eat. You know, remind him of what human interaction is like. But obviously, that's not where it ends. While the two are out, Harold, Stinky, and Joey get the bright idea of messing with Vincent's rooftop pigeon haven. And of course, the whole plan goes sideways pretty quickly, effectively destroying the entire rooftop. And I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but
in bird culture, this is considered a dick move.
After the bullies flee the scene, Arnold and Vincent return only to the carnage that was left behind. While Arnold tries to look on the bright side, Vincent laments to Arnold about how his refusal to trust people is more often than not proven to be completely valid. He then says goodbye to Arnold before his pigeons fly him off into the sunset, taking him wherever else pigeons may need him. A pretty uplifting yet bittersweet ending, right? Wrong! Because when looking at the end of this episode closer, it becomes pretty clear that there's something a little more sinister going on. That perhaps instead of Vincent's pigeons carrying him off, Vincent actually hurled himself off the roof to his death. I mean, think about it. As real as Hey Arnold can get, this is a pretty strange episode ending. This theory suggests that after Vincent's final speech, which had a lot of language that denoted that he would probably never see Arnold again, that he killed himself. But because this show is viewed through the lens of children, and more specifically Arnold, this event was viewed differently by our hero because the actual events were just too traumatic to handle. His coping mechanism was just to simply repress the memory, replacing it with something a bit more pleasant and inspirational and uplifting. It's a horrifying dark idea, but it's not exactly one that's unprecedented. Yeah, I see you over there, Academy Award-winning film Birdman, ripping off your ambiguous ending from a 20-year-old episode of Hey Arnold. You can't fool everyone. Many have also examined the dialogue in the last exchange of the episode. It's at this moment where Vincent is probably at the lowest point in his life. By trusting Arnold, a chain of events was set into motion that led to his life's work being destroyed. But instead of lamenting his loss, he tells Arnold to not be sad as it's his time to leave anyway. As he makes his way toward the edge of the building, he tells Arnold things like, "You've taught me that some people can be trusted, and I'll never forget that." Along with some other pearls of wisdom like,
"Some people are meant to be with people, and others, like me, are just different.
And
I just hope there's another Arnold where I go next."
It all seems very final and vague. But on top of not elaborating where he's going, he also tells Arnold that wherever a pigeon is in need, he'll be there, as if he's gonna become some sort of omnipotent, ethereal pigeon man, living on in all of the pigeons of the city and possibly the world. The language all feels very similar to how we would talk about our departed loved ones, who are always with us in spirit. And others have built onto this idea still, pointing out certain elements that suggest that Vincent may not have actually survived the end of this episode. Noticing noticing things like the sun poking out from behind the clouds seeming eerily reminiscent of the symbol of the rising sun. Not this rising sun, this rising sun. Specifically, the sun used on the military flag of Japan in World War II, a flag that in the Western cultural zeitgeist has become closely associated with kamikaze pilots, even though this design is still incredibly widely used for a variety of purposes. Heck, some have even pointed out that the way Vincent outstretches his arms and flies toward the sun could be seen as an allusion to figures like Jesus or ascension into heaven. But I'll admit that pointing out certain elements of the scene composition that could be seen as helping our narrative could be seen as a stretch at best. So with that in mind, I've got one more point to share. When Vincent is being carried away by his birds, he's being suspended into the air, so there's no question that his pigeons are hanging onto him. However,
it's not a question of where he grips it. It's a simple question of weight ratios.
That is an excellent point, random castle guard from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. If we look at actual pigeons, is there any way they could actually lift a human like we see in the episode? Well, the species that we see in the show is most likely the most common form of pigeon found in cities, also known as the rock dove. And an average one of these birds generally weighs between 9 and 13 ounces, not even half a kilogram. And if we round out the numbers, the average pigeon can carry about 20% of their body weight while still flying comfortably, which evens out to about 2.5 ounces. Now, figuring out one's ability to lift something isn't usually as easy as just saying, oh, well, it can lift this much, so that's how much it's gonna lift. Normally, we would also take a look at torque, since properties like balancing are usually pretty important for lifting stuff. But since in this case, Pigeon Man seems to be carried by his center of gravity, and because he's essentially dead weight, pun completely intended, it's probably not something we need to worry about too much. So one pigeon can support about 2.5 ounces and still fly without, you know, plummeting to the ground. If we assume the best case and say that adding another pigeon will simply add another 2.5 ounces to the total weight they can carry, maybe if we add all of them together, we can lift Vincent off the ground. So, exactly how many pigeons are carrying Vincent? Thankfully, we won't have to look too hard or resort to wild estimating because we get a pretty clear shot at the end of the episode, and we can see about 25, give or take. There they are. Alright, so 25 pigeons, each capable of carrying about 2.5 ounces. So if we assume the best case and simply multiply 2.5 by 25, we get 62.5 ounces. Just a little under 4 pounds. Well then. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure we could try to futz with our numbers until the end of time and still never come to the conclusion that Vincent weighs 4 pounds. Even if we were to very conservatively assume Vincent's weight to be something like 140 pounds, then that would still mean that these 25 pigeons would have to lift over 700% their total body weight and still be able to fly comfortably and gain altitude. That's like if I tried to lift a fully grown cow off the ground. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I really don't think that the average person or pigeons would be able to do these things. The most weight that these pigeons would carry would probably be something like a small chihuahua. Although, I gotta say that sight is still pretty majestic. So hopefully with this in mind, I've been able to convince you that there is absolutely no way that Pigeon Man's birds could have carried him off the roof of his building. And that the episode Pigeon Man actually did have a significantly darker ending than we were led to believe. A huge part of this theory was that the original plan was to have Pigeon Man kill himself, but the network forced creator Craig Bartlett to change the ending for obvious reasons. But based on this evidence, this is practically irrefutable, and there's nobody who can convince me otherwise that this was not the intention. There is nobody who can tell me that this theory is not true. So with that in mind, everyone, on the plausibility meter, I'm going to rate the conspiracy of Pigeon Man actually killing himself. Did you guys feel that just now?
Great research, Jacob, but how does it hold up? It doesn't. And I should know, because I'm Craig Bartlett, the creator of Hey Arnold. Yeah, I really hate that fan theory because he's not dead. I don't kill off my characters. You know, Pigeon Man was supposed to fly away and help other pigeons everywhere. He's a hero. He's gonna fly away. Why do you think he's wearing that crazy rig for the whole episode? That's so that he can hook up the pigeons to it and then they'll fly him away. The idea that we would want him to die, to commit suicide of all things in a kid show, and then have the network say we can't, and then have us go, oh, okay, so we'll write it this way. I hate that. It's like the network telling us we can't do something. We worked really well with the network, and we all agreed we were making a kid show that was gonna be the kind of kid show where magic stuff happened, not people jump off of buildings and die. Yeah, the thing that's weird about these fan theories is that they kind of like that idea that the network wanted us to not do something. You know, like we wanted to do something crazy and the network didn't, and they wouldn't let us. It's like that Iggy thing. We make an episode that, you know, Arnold has to do this really humiliating thing. And then I finally see it. It's like, how can I finally see Arnold betrays Iggy? I didn't write it, Steve Vixton wrote it, but I am in on the writing. I direct the voices and do the recording. I see every step of the storyboard. When the cartoon gets mixed, I'm mixing it. How could I suddenly see Arnold betrays Iggy and go, I hate this, and, you know, punish my writers? That's really weird. And, you know, the worst thing about it is that it implies that I'm some kind of jerk. I'm not. I made the show. I made Pigeon Man. I made Arnold betrays Iggy. Some came out great, some came out less than great. But I made them all and I was there. So I'm not a jerk. Yeah, I hated that theory so much that I even made sure Pigeon Man is in the Jungle movie so we can see that he's alive and well. He's in Paris just like I said he was, you know, helping pigeons everywhere. That is why I brought him back, because I can't stand that people think he's dead. It really makes me mad. And that's why I give that fan theory a 0 out of 5 Yahoo sodas.
Why do I even try anymore? Why do I even try? Well, you heard it from the man himself. Not only was this never the intention for Pigeon Man, but Craig Bartlett has been given the unique opportunity to nuke this theory from orbit over 20 years after the episode first premiered. And he's done this in the most decisive way possible by straight up putting Pigeon Man in the Jungle movie. And yeah, I guess it would be pretty difficult for Vincent to send Arnold a message from Paris if he were actually dead. So kudos to you, Mr. Bartlett. You even debunked the Arnold betrays Iggy theory, so I guess this episode ended up being a double header. But now as I speak to you on the other side of this screen, what do you think? Did you ever believe the theory that Pigeon Man actually jumped off the roof of his building? How hyped are you for the Hey Arnold Jungle movie? And which character in the show did you identify with the strongest? I mean, other than Helga, obviously. I think we can all relate to Helga a little bit. Which character do you relate yourself the second most to? Be sure to leave us your thoughts in the comments, and also let us know of any conspiracies you'd like us to take a look at in a later episode. And we also want to extend a huge, massive thank you to Craig Bartlett for coming in this week and putting me in my place. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to channel Frederator, and click that little bell icon next to the subscribe button to become part of our notification squad. Because remember, Frederator loves you.